winemaker for this particular wine is a female. And if you think about in Italy in the Renaissance, the less were semi-nude women in all of the art. And so that's kind of what she wanted. And my son said they were saying that they
It's like, yeah, that's, it's a little off.
threw up this very unattractive.
You are good, right?
motif.
Do something with this.
You can grab it and take it with you to your seat.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he was kind of like, yeah, probably not what we wanted to do today.
Yeah.
Did you grab one of these?
Oh, no, I sure didn't. Thank you.
If there's anything specific that you guys want to learn, just let me know. We are going to go over prompting, we're going to go over context engineering. If we have time, I'm going to try to get into tools, but I don't know that we'll have time, just because it's only an hour.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Do you have those notebooks that y'all used to have?
That is a great question. I can go ask for you.
My whole, case was, left.
Oh,
The laptop and
no.
everything, and
Oh,
it's too
that's
hard to
the
drive
worst.
back.
Yeah, no worries. Let me see if we can get to something. Melissa's gonna take care of it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm staying in Vern right now, and I get all the way to, Concord,
Okay, yep.
and I was like,
Oh, yeah, it's
no,
like, oh, well.
I have to have my computer,
Yep.
especially during this class.
Right.
So I'm using my phone as best as possible.
Yeah, and this class will be, I'm trying to keep it kind of universal, so if you use ChatGPT, Gemini, like whatever AI you use, this class will be applicable for it.
Perfect, perfect. What was your name?
My name's Ryan.
Ryan, I'm Ross,
Yes.
nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. And if there's anything specific that you want to learn, let me know,
Okay.
because I've got planned about an hour, so give or take for questions, and
Okay.
if I can get to tool use and stuff like that. So.
Perfect, perfect.
Mhm.
Extra papers,
Thank you.
nothing fancy, but enough to take notes on.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Grab you some, I'll put some here in case anyone else needs it.
Good, how are you?
So are you guys mostly using ChatGPT, a different one? What are you guys using? GPT?
ChatGPT and Grok.
Grok, okay.
Yeah.
What do you use? Never heard of that.
Grok's a popular one. Grok,
I have a Tesla,
that's,
so like the
that's-
new upgrade really interacts with Grok really well.
yeah,
so.
yep. So I think in the long term, Grok and Google have the best chance to win the AI race just because they have so much data within their existing ecosystem.
Yeah, the Tesla.
GROK. Yeah,
Really-
so if you look at the system
They have
that
so
Musk
much
has built,
information coming into like essentially one brain for all
Right.
of Tesla and
he's got Starlink, Tesla, Optimus, Solar
Yeah,
City,
Solar, yeah,
like
like, it's
the
just-
ecosystem of real world data that's proprietary that no one has access to is unreal.
Yeah,
And
he's
that's
running a different race than the others. I
yeah,
think.
yeah, he's
a little bit.
he's focused more on like the physics and like the real world modeling of how it works. And then you have Google who's focused on like the productivity side of it.
Yeah.
And then you have Claude who's focused on the business side and
I
then
tried Claude. I found it clunky. I found it.
okay, yeah.
And like I don't know. Maybe I'm just not using it well.
Well, and that's
probably more true.
well, and that's each one of them does different things, better, worse, all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of people just think like, oh, it just goes into one and it's basically all the same.
Right.
But you can get wildly different results based on the provider you're using.
Yeah.
We use, a partner and I have a software company that builds software for meat processors.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And we use Claude specifically for a bunch of code writing. It's
Okay.
incredible,
Yeah.
but like not for, it's like totally different kind of than Grok or ChatGPT.
1,000%, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just different
It's designed for that use case.
Right.
Like that's kind of like Anthropic saw the writing on the wall and they were like, we're just gonna go hard this way because OpenAI kind of dominates the consumer side, just because they were first and everybody. It's like Kleenex tissue type thing, right? Like or Coke soda, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so there are typically better products out there for what you're looking for, but if like Chat does a great job as just a general like I just want to go to this one place and do this thing, like it's going to be more than enough for most people.
I use it just to like help daily tasks. So a lot of it's just copywriting. A lot of it's just
Yep.
like writing copy and chat and then cleaning it up from there.
1,000%, yeah.
I'm excited to learn whatever we're gonna learn today. I
Mhm.
read the summary, but it was like, who knows? But I'm really intrigued by the idea of like creating an AI assistant in
Okay, yeah.
real estate.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I've got a buddy that's explored that, not in real estate, but like in his own,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
environment, if you will. And so I'm actually not as tech savvy as I should be in a lot of ways, but I would love to learn how to do that. And then also, am I allowed to? Because like legally or whatever, am I gonna be having AI do tasks that have to be completed by a realtor or, you know what I mean?
Right,
That
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of element,
Yeah.
you know?
No, 100%.
I'm very interested in all that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and that's that's actually I'm glad you said that because one of the things that we're going to talk about today is kind of engineering your context, and so how do we take it's kind of the next level of prompting, right? Prompting is what you say to the AI right then and there,
Right.
whereas context is going to be here are kind of the persistent details in my life, and then also you can throw in stuff that's dynamic and changes. Like right now, I have on my phone. I just set it up so that I can talk to Claude via Telegram. And so I have all my context in there, and I'll say like, these are the tasks that I got done today. Here are new projects that I added. Like update my personal operating system and tell me what I need to do, right? And so, because one of the things that happens, especially in today's society, is you get so much digital clutter, like digital data, whether it's good, bad, otherwise,
Yeah.
that what they call entropy management is like really, really really powerful concept because it allows you to stay organized, and this is stuff that AI does really, really well, is helps you stay organized. So you can put, like I put all of my stuff that I get for the day into a folder, and then I run a command, and I have an AI that goes, it opens each file, it looks at it, tells me what business it's associated with, renames it, rehomes it, and then logs it. And so now I don't have all of, I mean, that's probably 20 minutes of work per file, just like dumb stuff that I'm wasting my time doing. right? And I'm not saying that I'm above like labeling files and stuff, but I'm saying if I don't have to do it, I'm not going to do it, right? And so like that's the kind of stuff that AI is really. One of my favorite quotes is from there's a writer who she said, "I want AI to do my laundry and dishes, not my writing," because everyone's using ChatGPT to just do the writing, right? And so she's like, this is backwards from what I want it to be, right? And so
Yeah, it needs to be doing my taxes, not all three.
that's exactly right.
Really well too.
Yeah.
Really strategically, you know.
But yeah, and that's one of the biggest things is giving your AI the ability to kind of pull context and because everyone in here has different resources. Like there's a billion ways to sell a house, right? Like you can do cold email, you can go to networking events, you can and that's just to get leads, right? And there's different steps that you can take throughout the whole thing. And the thing I love about AI is it can impact every part of that. The thing I hate about AI is it can impact every part of that. Meaning that a lot of people will start to build half bridges and then they're like, AI sucks, I tried it in every part of my business and it's just not getting me anywhere. And it's like, yeah, it does suck if you get halfway with it, right? And so like I would much rather you guys focus on saying like, this is the one thing that's most important to me right now, let's do that and then kind of expand the capabilities. Because a lot of people, like I said, play with it, they get halfway to the destination, they run into some type of challenge or it gets hard or it gets unconventional and it's just like, okay, well I guess this is as far as this can go, right? Instead of using the AI like a co-intelligence and being like, hey, this is the problem I've run into, here are my constraints, here are the resources that I have to solve it, help me, right?
Right. So out of curiosity, the stuff that you're doing in your own personal, you know, AI agent stuff, do you have like bridging code to do? Are you taking it that far, or you're literally just able to use the AI on its own to go from point A all the way to the complete task?
So it depends a lot on the task and how much of the inputs and outputs are what we call fuzzy, meaning that they're not a definitive thing. So with your business processes, the things that don't break are going to be what they call deterministic, meaning if one thing happens, this next thing happens, right? Whether that next thing is nothing or whether that next thing is making a decision, whatever it is, it goes from boom to boom to boom, right? And that's deterministic. That will work 100% of the time unless there's a bug or something wrong. Right? You add intelligence into that and it's no longer deterministic because now the intelligence can make decisions. And so now that code that works 100% of the time may only work 70% of the time, and that is not nearly good enough to be effective in the context of a business, right? And so what you want to do is you want to have as much deterministic as you can, and then everything else should be intelligence based. And so you do have like Python scripts, and so it'll say like, go from here, look at these variables and see what the situation is. If the situation is this, run this deterministic code. If the situation is this, you have to make another decision. And so it's always kind of building that decision tree of like, and this is one of the reasons that I would recommend that everybody starts, if you're gonna implement AI, start with something you do really, really well and you know really, really well. Because if you start with what you know and you kind of compound your strength, you don't have to learn a system plus how to use AI at the same time, right? You can just figure out what you do well and then add AI into it.
You should change that clock. It's not 9 a.m.
Sure isn't.
Don't go by that. You'll be here for hours. I'll fix it later. I think we got one more coming in. Did you tell them about the link that was emailed?
No, I did not.
I did send an email this morning with some digital, I'll send it to you because you obviously didn't get it this morning, Jordan. With some virtual handouts. Make sure you check your spam if you didn't get it. It was sent first thing this morning, so hopefully it's at the top of your email. Heard the door open. Come on. There she is. Okay, welcome. How's everyone doing this morning? It's a beautiful spring day. I think it's, what, 80 today is the high or something? We're already in summer. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Wish we were at the beach, but whatever. We'll take it. The lake back there is equally as amazing. Welcome. We're really excited. So I was telling Ryan this morning that Bo, our CEO, one of his directives for me at the end of last year was to try to find more AI classes. And this man just happened to walk into my building a few months ago. So we've been coordinating over the last several months to get all of these classes Trek approved, and they're sprinkled throughout our calendar. They do get a little bit longer as the year goes on. So this is our 1 hour one. We have a 3 hour one and a 6 hour one, all covering different things.
Yeah, deeper and wider.
So if you're interested, if you like what you hear today, certainly sign up for the other ones, all CE approved. I think we have one next month,
Yeah, April 9th. Yeah.
and then another one, the 6 hour one's in the fall. I
Yeah,
believe we
yeah,
skipped summer
yeah,
because
yeah.
if y'all are like me, with kids out of school, I'm like,
Yeah.
what
6
day is
hours
it? I don't
in
even know
over
what
the
day it is.
summer.
So in the fall, we'll have a 6 hour one. With that, hopefully everybody signs in. I think we got you all captured. We'll get this submitted to CE Broker for license renewal. Hopefully by the end of tomorrow. I should hopefully have that done today, but hopefully by the end of tomorrow. You guys know coffee, water, sodas, restrooms out the back to your right. Help yourself. Just a quick 1 hour class. And with that, Mr. Ryan Wanner.
Which has it?
Warner, got it. Here we
Yeah.
go. With AI acceleration. Bam! Love a good first
Crush it.
intro. Again, I did send a link for some virtual handouts. No, that's a different QR code.
Okay.
You may not have got it either because you were write-in. I'll find your email. You and Jordan, I'm gonna email it to you. Who else didn't get it? It was literally sent first thing this like 8 a.m. this morning.
I was a writer.
You were write-in? I'll get the write-in.
How many are really? I don't
Were
see
you
it.
written in or were you on the roster?
was on
I'll
the
resend
roster.
it. I'll resend it to everybody.
I don't see it.
But it should, check your spam. So I BCC'd everybody, because like I do for every class reminder. I'll send it again to everybody, just to make sure you have it. Did anyone get it? Did it come to anyone? My guy. Okay, cool. Like, did I even hit send on the email? Who knows, right? I don't know.
I got an email about like a survey about how to best use this AI. Is that the same
Did you get it?
email?
I mean, it's a very, like you keep scrolling
That's
down
this
and like things, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
That's it, yeah, black background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll resend it to everybody, so you may get it twice, just for, especially the people who were written in, because you definitely didn't get it. Everyone, I'll send it again in just 2 seconds. Anything else you guys have questions for me at all? It's warm in here, are y'all warm? I mean, y'all can adjust there if you need to, but I'm warm. All right, Mr. Ryan, the floor is yours, my friend.
Woohoo! Alright, so I have a critical fear of public speaking, so I'm just going to be standing here silently and pressing a button on my computer. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so these, I very much love questions. So this is an hour class, so I'm going to try to kind of minimize questions, but I also want to make sure you guys have a way to get questions answered. So if you have a question that's preventing you from kind of advancing with what we're studying, whether it's prompting, context engineering, raise your hand and ask it. I will answer it to the best of my ability. If you have a question that is maybe like, what does GPT stand for? I don't know, but I do want to know. Scan this and ask it to this, and I will answer it in an email that is going to be forthcoming after the class. So that's what these are. These are for questions that may not be relevant to kind of advancing the subject, considering we're here for an hour. All right, that being said, let's get right to business. So, most people with AI, the way they start using AI is the same way we use Google, right? Like, most people when they use AI, they go, they ask it a question, they get an answer, and then they do kind of what it is with that answer. We are moving into a place where AI has access to tools, it has access to what we're going to talk about, like additional context, and a lot of utility in moving towards a mindset of delegating to the AI. So we're moving from a searcher mindset to a delegator mindset where it's actually able to pull some level of task off of your plate, right? Like, we don't want just the AI to live in a chatbot. If the AI stays in the chatbot, there's a lot of manual work for you to do, copy, paste, going and finding, doing all that kind of stuff. So we want to get to a place where we are going from Google to basically using it like an operating system. I was kind of talking a little bit earlier about how I have kind of all the context that I need in my phone, and I can send a Telegram message, AI will root through it and tell me like, hey, these are the tasks that are most important for me to do today. That's kind of the difference in an operating system, right? Like, an operating system is something that is dynamic and provides you value on an ongoing basis, whereas if you're kind of the searcher mindset, you just go and you get value one time when you execute a search. So my biggest filter is if it doesn't save time or make money, I don't care about it. That being said, I don't care about it as it relates to kind of teaching in the class. I think AI is super fun. I love like designing logos and being creative and stuff. That isn't making anyone money, right? Like you've seen some terrible logos out there of companies that are doing pretty well. But that's kind of one of the things I said in the beginning of this class. AI is great because it can do everything. AI is terrible because it can do everything. This is one of the side trails that you have to kind of look out for. You have to, whatever your personal filter is, you have to apply it, or you'll, because it can do anything, you'll just go off on side trails and you'll be like, how am I looking at logo color shades and it's been 3 hours sitting at ChatGPT, right? Because it's just very easy to do. So what we're gonna learn today is we're gonna learn mental models of working with AI. We're gonna learn prompting, context engineering, and how to verify results. So context over cleverness is basically the idea that prompts can get you so far. So you can have a prompt and it can get you really, really good results, but if you want to be efficient, if you want speed, you're going to want to develop a kind of a what's called a persistent context, meaning if your name is Larry, your name is likely always to be Larry. You can put that in your context, right? And so now the AI, when it says write a listing description for X, Y, and Z, it'll pull, like, let's say you hate the word dream home. Like, let's say that's one of your realtor pet peeves is you absolutely dislike the word dream home. You can throw that into the do not say list for AI, and it will not say it, right? Because one of the things, especially with realtors, right, is a lot of people with AI use it, and what they don't realize they're doing is they're actually kind of chopping off human connection. What I mean by that is I personally am, I'm not a realtor, but if I were to write a listing description, I could go to ChatGPT and I could have a reasonable listing description written for me, right? Without very much experience or anything. However, everyone in this room has expertise, this is very, very important. It's something called non-public proprietary data, right? So ChatGPT is trained on the internet. So if it's public data, it's likely been in some AI somewhere. Your advantage is the things that are not publicly accessible, right? So if you know that the 12 South neighborhood is the best neighborhood in Nashville and you know X, Y, and Z things that haven't been made public yet, that is your advantage, right? And so when I go to do that listing description, I don't have that inside information like you guys have. So if you guys have good context, you'll be able to write a better listing description than I can 100% of the time. And it all comes down to making sure that you're giving it the right information. So, mental models for AI. The reason I teach this, and I personally am not someone who enjoys theoretical teaching. And so this kind of crushes my soul a little bit to teach this. But it is super duper important because if you don't have the fundamentals for thinking about how to use AI, you get locked into the model that you're using. What I mean by that is, let's say you know ChatGPT, you know it really well. Let's say that Claude comes out with an AI that is leaps and bounds better than ChatGPT. If you don't have thinking tools to be able to switch providers, you're going to be stuck to ChatGPT and you will always be at a disadvantage to people who are able to move quickly model to model because it changes so fast, right? It's kind of like, it's similar to like cell phone providers, internet providers. They all have things that they do better, worse, all that kind of stuff. So mental models for AI, and it's all about kind of the thinking tools because you can ask AI, get a generic output, or you can, the text is definitely not big enough for you guys to read, but it helps move that generic output to what success actually looks like for you, right? Because there are, what success looks like for me is going to be different from what it looks like for you. Let's say you guys are really good at sending cold emails. I'm not really good at sending cold emails. So if you guys are really good at it, and you guys have good context and AI, you guys are going to be really, really good at it. It jumps your strengths significantly farther ahead. The things you want to look for when identifying is a task useful for AI is one, how well do you know the workflow for that task? So if you know from A to Z and you have that process down really well, that's a really good place for you to start with AI, because you don't have to learn AI and a system. You can take the system you have and put AI into it. And that kind of teaches you, okay, this is how I can implement AI, and then you can start thinking about using it with your weaknesses as well, because you have to develop kind of, not linearly, but it helps if you have kind of a process in place to work with AI and kind of understand how it can best impact your business. So first principles thinking, define the outcome, not the process. So we live in kind of a world where the processes are changing really, really rapidly, and I think we're going to see that more and more as AI continues to become prevalent. And so it's having people completely reimagine things, such like even the internet right now is, there's a lot going on the internet which is completely invisible to the human eye, but is very visible to agents. Things like generative search. So how do you get recommended in ChatGPT? How do you get, how does an AI kind of find your business? All that kind of stuff. So the fundamentals of discoverability are changing, right? And so you want to look at what outcome you want. So the process may have been, you know, okay, I have to go and collect emails off the website, and then I have to load them into a spreadsheet, and then I have to, you know, X, Y, and Z. But if you look at kind of the AI and you say, hey, these are the resources I have, and it, again, context, context, context. These are the resources I have, this is the problem I have, these are the things that are kind of guardrails or restrictions that you can't do, help me solve it, right? And so start from the beginning and kind of engineer the solution. So as an example, help me with social media turns into, I need 3 posts that generate at least 1 inbound DM this week, here's what worked last month, right? And so you're moving from a very generic prompt that you would just use one time to something that eventually you'll be able to just copy, paste. And so the questions that I always ask before I work with AI is, what's the win state? So if my dream outcome, if I were to get everything I wanted out of this interaction, what does that look like? How will I know it worked? What does good look like for this task? So what would be some things that would make this task fail? Like if I saw this and I was like, nope. Do I have an example to show AI? So if you've done something, you've done it well. Examples almost always work better than description. So if you have something that you can put directly in, you're like, this email, I send this to clients, it always makes them super happy, they love it when I follow up this way, blah, blah, blah. Put that in as context. Like make sure that you're giving the AI as much information to win as possible. Next up is the OODA loop. So you may or may not be familiar with the OODA loop, but it is observe, orient, decide, act. It was invented by a fighter pilot in World War II, and if it's good enough for that, it's probably good enough to make AI outputs a little bit better. Basically what it is this is kind of the loop that you want to run when you're prompting in your own head. So observe, what is the reality of the situation, right? What is true right now, right? And then you want to orient. So of what's real, where am I going? Which direction do I want to go? Then you need to decide on the plan to get there, and then you act. So for example, if you say to AI, write a listing description for this house, you know, whatever. So you observe the output, you say, okay, this is really good, but it doesn't have the bedrooms, it's lacking this water feature, it's lacking, you know, this thing that gives the house extra charm. And so we're gonna add that to it. We're gonna orient, so we're gonna say that, you know, buyers in this market are really looking for the following things, so we wanna make sure that's highlighted. Then we're gonna decide, okay, do I wanna go in this direction or that direction? Let's focus on this one, decision, and then you act. So then you send the prompt, it comes back and you just start it again, right? You observe, okay, what is in here that I don't like, that I need to change, that, you know, whatever that is, right? And so the goal is to, if you can get good at this, you can get good at AI, because it's the less dynamic decisions that you have to make, and the more you can put everything into a framework where you don't have to make a bunch of decisions in a row. You can just kind of be like, okay, it's entering, observe, okay, what's true, okay, orient. The more you can put this kind of running in the background of your mental framework, the easier it is to be like, okay, this is what I need to do next. And so the speed with which you can get through observe, orient, decide, act speeds up dramatically as you do it more and more. And just so you guys know, I have like a client portal or a student portal that I'm working on that is free that you guys will be able to log into. You'll get the slides. I have a workbook that goes with the class, and there's a bunch of other stuff in there too. I don't remember exactly what it was.
I think I'm on that, right?
Okay, yeah. I spent
But
all
it just
week
keeps
like
going through the slides like automatically. I can't-
Yeah, I need to, there's a bug in that, yeah.
Okay,
I
just
did.
making sure I'm right.
Well, it's funny because I actually fixed the bug for my presentation like probably 10 minutes before class.
that's
Because I was like, oh yeah, it's auto advancing. I
Good
can
deal.
do that.
Just
So-
making sure it wasn't just me.
Yeah, yep. And so, but yeah, you'll have all of the details. So one of the things that's really useful with AI, so I think it was Salvador Dali that said the biggest enemy for a painter is a blank canvas, right? And so a lot of people struggle starting from nothing, right? And so one of the great things about AI is you can go and you can just start. Because speed, if you go in there and you start to build momentum, it will get you where you want to go. But if you're just staring at the blank screen trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this perfect? It's not. You're going to spend a lot of time and very little action. And the cool thing with AI is you can go in there and just start action and end up at the same place much faster than if you tried to be a perfectionist. That was me. I was the perfectionist. So this was something that was really, really useful for me, is getting in there and just being like, you know what? I have an iterative mindset now. So this first output, it's not the final output. I'm going to be able to do this as many times as I need to get what I want. And then once I get what I want, I'm going to ask the AI, okay, from where we started to now, how did you end up going from there to there? And now I'm going to have a prompt that shortcuts all of the 10 messages that I sent, right? So instead of going back and doing that every time, I now have the AI telling me in its own words, this is how we arrived at this solution, the solution that you want, right? And so you want to make sure that you're kind of just making mental notes and logging that kind of stuff. Skill gap is something that is really, really important, because what it does, AI will make whatever you do go faster, it'll make it bigger, it'll make it whatever. If you have a process that sucks, it will suck faster, it will suck bigger, and it will be terrible, right? So it just makes bad worse if that's what the goal is. If the goal is to just go as fast as you can, right? So you want to have an understanding of like really what you're after, and have it so that the system is dialed in so that you can go faster, you can what they call scale at an appropriate rate, and you're not scaling something that's going to break in a month when it gets volume that is commensurate for it to handle, right? So, but yeah, so this is just, if you're a novice or if you're a bad photographer and you use AI editing, you're going to have polished garbage, right? So that's where you're at. But if you have expertise and you have AI to supplement that, and you can call the AI out on its bad decisions, it's like, I don't think that fact is real, like all that kind of stuff, then you have a much better, and everybody has some type of unique, like everyone in this room has a unique expertise that they can apply to AI and get a disproportional advantage over everyone else in the room, right? Like every single person has something that they can use AI to gain a big advantage with. And so AI can help us draft and research and do kind of the grunt work to making a really good output, but you have to be the one that is verifying those outputs. You have to be the one that's getting a feel on your clients in person. You have to be the one that's knowing the market. AI can speed up everything you do, but again, you have to be that human in the loop that is judging the quality of the output that you are getting. It is always, and I say it this way, AI does not have any type of legal representation. So if in the absolute worst case scenario, if you go crazy and your AI outputs some hot garbage and you get sued over it, they're not suing your AI agent, right? They're suing you. So make sure that you're assessing this through, does this meet fair housing? Even though you've said, make sure this is compliant with fair housing, you still want to read it and be like, is this compliant with fair housing, right? because interpretations, all that kind of stuff, you are the final decision maker for the AI. Circle of competence, this is similar to skill gap, but it is kind of the opposite, where that is way too small, where you kind of know your strengths and you use the AI to make it bigger. And what you're doing is you're also paying attention to everyone else's circle of competence, right? Because you don't want a painter who's like, oh yeah, I can build a deck, and then, you know, I've never built a deck before, probably don't want to do that, right? So you want to make sure that you're staying within your circle of competence with the AI, and you're expanding gradually, not just dumping a bunch of stuff into the AI and then just saying like, oh, here, I made a bunch of outputs, great, right? That's not going to help. You need to be, it's ideal to be living where you are the most proficient as it relates to the AI, because you can kind of guardrail it back to the truth once it gets off base. If you don't have any subject matter expertise in that domain, you'll need to do a little bit of research on your own. And I also, something that's like really, really useful is asking the AI to provide links and citations to the research that it's done, right? Because then you can just go and click the links and see exactly what it looked at. If you don't do that, it'll, like 9 times out of 10, it just gives you an output. So most people don't realize that they are the constraint as it relates to AI, and that's just because the AI can go faster, it can do more. There's just, what tools do you have access to be able to make these things automatic, to have the context. Like, context can be as simple as putting it into a Google Doc that you copy and paste that Google Doc into your AI every time, right? It's very, very simple stuff. And then 80-20 rule, this is probably my favorite one because it means the AI does 80% of the work. What you want to do is kind of view yourself as being the first 10% of the project and the last 10% of the project, right? So when you get started with a project, you have to give it clarity and direction. The more clear you are with what you want, the better the output AI is going to give you. And the more, so basically it looks like 10% is create, give clarity, provide context to, all that kind of front end work. Then you have 80% of the AI doing research, building, like doing all that kind of stuff. And then you have the 10% of polish. And that's where we talked a little bit earlier about how a lot of people use AI and it kind of blunts human connection. That polish is what puts it back into a human connectable way, right? So if someone knows that you're always so friendly and polite and you have big energy and blah, 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 and you email them and you're like, to whom it may concern, they're gonna be like, I don't know about this. This doesn't sound like Jerry or whoever it was that sent the email, right? Like, you want it to be as indistinguishable from your voice as possible. And like I said, you can get quality outputs. Like, I can go get a great listing description. But if I'm like funny and engaging and all these things, and I can add that to it, plus local knowledge, I now have a listing description that is very different than the other stuff out there. And I think just the idea of doing things in a more novel way is going to be beneficial, because there has never been a time in human history where we have had as big a pull from an algorithm trying to pull everyone back to baseline, right? So like, if you look at social media, there you will see an algorithm of like, here's stuff for you based on other stuff that you've liked, right? And so all an algorithm is trying to do is to figure out what's popular with as many people as possible and get everybody back to that baseline, right? But if AI is trying to push everyone back to baseline, and you're giving a listing description that has like a lot of excitement and it uses the word Yahoo and whatever, right? Like, it's just very different than what people are seeing. If for no other reason, it will stand out due to the novelty of it. Because we're heading to a place where a majority of agents are going to ChatGPT and saying, give me a listing for X, right? And that's great. It's improved the overall quality of listings dramatically, right? Because everyone has a floor now that has been set as being a reasonable quality. But right now we're trying to get to the ceiling, right? Like, the floor is very easy with AI, the ceiling is much harder. And that's what we're trying to get. I don't want you guys to just be living at the very base of AI. I want you guys to feel comfortable being like, this is like really moving my business forward. Because a lot of people use AI and they're like, I don't know how this is actually helping, right? And so it's, because you want systems in place that allow the AI to do as much for you as it possibly can. So 20% that you don't want AI to be doing is if the sellers are going through a divorce, right? You know that, the AI doesn't, so you want to treat that with care. The buyer is nervous, not cheap, right? Like, so there's things that the AI will infer that are not true or that is just missing, right? And so that's when I keep going back to it, but that proprietary non-public data that you have in your brain is the advantage that you can give to your AI. So if you can use AI well and you have that, you have an advantage. So context over cleverness. So this is again, just kind of talking about the fact that prompts isn't all you need, but it is a great start. And so it goes from, help me with this listing to imagine you're paying a $500 an hour consultant, they've never met you, never seen your client, never heard, would you say, help me with this, or would you brief? So like you're getting a much different output by ensuring that, again, you're just context, and being specific. So I said earlier how examples beat descriptions 100% of the time. That is so true. Like if you really feel like you've got 3 emails that are written, I'll give you an example because this is probably more pertinent. So I'm very, very classical introvert, like lock me in a closet with a computer and let me go to work all day, I'm super happy. Not great at customer service, as it turns out, right? Engineer brains don't work that way. So for me personally, I was like, who is the person in my life that is the best with customer service, that makes customers feel like, oh man, like every time they walk away, they are happier with the company for having interacted with her, right? And so went to her. Now I have a similar customer service skill set for her as it relates to warmth and friendliness, right? That no one is gonna, I have never had someone respond to one of my emails with, oh, that was so nice of you to say, because that's not what I do. I'm just very direct, very like what it is. But now people are like, oh my goodness, you're so nice. Not really. The AI has you fooled. But yeah, you just have to change kind of the way you're thinking about the problems, the way you're thinking about using the AI, and it'll change the outcomes that you're getting with it. This isn't for class, here we go, prompting. So this is everyone's majority of people's first touch point with AI is, what is your first prompt? So you go to ChatGPT, you go to Grok, Gemini, Claude, whatever, and you log in, and there it is, right there is just a prompt window, and so this is what we're looking at. So these are all the frontier labs and what they have to say about prompting. So think of AI as a brilliant but very new employee with amnesia who needs explicit instruction. The more context you provide, the better the response will be. Be specific, and then specify the format that you want. If you want bullet points, say so. If you want a paragraph, ask for it, right? So like, think about every outcome that you're looking for as think of it as being a director, not an actor, right? An actor in the scene they can ad-lib and improvise and whatever, but they're still constrained to the scene, right? And so the director can be like, you know what? Let's add a dinosaur. Let's throw a T-Rex in there. And it's like, okay, the actor can't do that. The director can. So think like a director because everything is malleable, right? Like your outputs are do you want a list? Do you want a paragraph? Do you want a social media post? Do you want a blog? Do you want a picture? Like, just be as specific as you possibly can and you will get much better results. So this is write a listing description for a house versus you're a luxury real estate copywriter who specializes in waterfront properties, so on and so forth, right? And so this is, and we'll get into this, so the difference is the structure of the prompt. So don't do that. So this is my prompting framework that I built for the class. That being said, there are probably 100 prompting frameworks out there that you guys can search online from people who are probably much smarter than I am, not probably, from people who are definitively much smarter than I am, like scientific based. This is just, I like this, it's simple, it's easy, and it kind of checks all the boxes. You can get as deep as you want with prompting. There's so much there. So context engineering, and we'll get into this. So the context of the prompt is basically, what does the prompt have on the back end? So what information are you giving this AI that is just persistent? So you're a realtor, you serve these markets, you typically cater to this type of clientele, this type of house, this, whatever it is, you want to create that context and throw it right in there. And the thing is, and it's tricky because a lot of people have the tendency to be like, oh, it's context, it all has to go in there, and then they end up getting this big, bloated document that actually starts to kind of conflate the AI and get it to go in different directions. So if you find that your context is starting to get huge, like let's say you have one context for the Franklin market, one context for the Nashville market, you may want to chop those up into 2 different files so that the AI isn't like trying to search a 1,000-line document to find a 20-line section, right? So there is something to be said about giving AI the right context, the right information at the right time. And AI is actually getting quite good at being able to do this on its own. So the sentence I just gave about maybe splitting it into 2 documents will likely not be true in about 6 months. So context to include, this is literally anything that you think is valuable that is not public, or things that are public that you can throw in there to give it additional information. So again, past examples, client information, context about the market, all that kind of stuff. Role, so the AI is going to change its vocabulary, what it talks about and how it talks as you change roles. So for example, I'm going to write a completely different email to a lender than I am a client, right? I'm gonna use different words, I'm gonna use different phrasing, I'm gonna approach it differently. And so that's what the role is. So role prompting is one of the most powerful ways to use prompts. And that is because it changes the entire personality. It's basically like giving your AI a childhood, right? Like, here's the context that you need to do the thing that is unique in this way, right? And that's, people really, at least I found that people really like to be talked to in their, like, the language that they're comfortable with. So if you're talking to a developer, they want to talk in more tech-based language. If you're talking to a lender, they want to talk in more like lending-based language. And so this is another way to really help you use AI to build connection, because you're talking to people directly in the way that they're like talking with the people who they're most familiar with, which is usually coworkers, right? And so again, and you can prompt the AI for roles. So you can say like, hey, I'm really stuck on trying to sell this home. This is the home. What role would you use to sell this home, or what? Who would you hire to sell this home? And then when it tells you, you can say, okay, blah blah blah, and then take that and go, right? And then the audience. So again, this is who you're talking to. So this is kind of what we talked about earlier, where your role is, I'm a lending officer. So now your audience, the AI is going to create the output to speak to a lending officer, right? So it's going to use the things, if you're like, I need to apply a little pressure to move this deal forward, da 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 da, it'll speak in that tone. Or if you say, you know, oh, there's a big incident, I need to write an apology because the client I had just went crazy, da da da, it'll speak in that, right? And so like, it's super adjustable in kind of all ways. And so you want to think about all of that stuff as you're creating the prompts and stuff to give to it. So first time buyer reading an email as an example, or a luxury seller reviewing a CMA, or agent peer on MLS. So like, you can merge those things and have it give very, very relevant industry outputs. So fences, more commonly called guardrails. again, this is your ADHD super smart friend that can solve any problem, but they get 5 minutes into the problem and then they decide that they're gonna go outside and chase squirrels, right? Like that's legitimately what can happen. So if really great example is there are dozens of ways to solve most problems, right? And so if you just give an AI, hey, solve this problem, it could come up with a way that is completely irrelevant to you because you don't have those resources, you don't have that skill, you don't have whatever it is, right? And so you put in the guardrails and you say, hey, I have this much budget, I have this much time, this is the skill that I'm planning to use, whatever it is, and it will come up with a solution that is relevant to your situation. It will not come up with a solution that you then have to reprompt and bring back in through iteration, right? It's all blocked from even going down that route, right? And that's one of the things that you want to do is a lot of people understand I need to tell the AI what to do. A lot of people don't understand. It's very beneficial if I tell the AI what not to do. Or solutions that, like, hey, I've already tried these things. And so then it can jump ahead that way. And so so you can do it with length, tone, structure, things to exclude, or format, and that's just the start. You can branch off anything. You can, the guardrails are up to kind of your imagination. And then tasks, so this is specifically kind of what are we focusing on, the clear instructions, are there any micro outcomes that you want along the way? So, as an example, you may say like, I want to run this process and I want to review 10 headlines for social media posts. And so then you review those 10 and you're like, these were all terrible, I want you to redo this way. And so the more specific and clear your task is, the better the outcome that you're going to get almost every time. Now, that being said, I do want to interject here that
What was the T again? I'm sorry.
T is for task.
Yeah, all right.
Yep. And I do want to interject here that I know I'm saying like focus on your outcomes. Brainstorming with AI is a really, really useful tool, but don't conflate a brainstorm with like trying to get an outcome, right? If you're going to brainstorm, do the brainstorm, get as many ideas as you can, refine the idea that you want, then take that to a separate chat and start to try to get your outcome, all right? Because like I said, AI is a great co-intelligence partner if you use it as like a brainstormer and then take that into getting the outcomes. But if you try to kind of do it all at once, you just end up with this hodgepodge mess of like, context. And it's like if you've ever been on a meeting where they're like, okay, we're just going to talk about this one thing, and then all of a sudden it turns into, oh yeah, we have 8 things to talk about, and there's no concrete ideas on any of them, right? It just turns into a mess. So try to separate the brainstorm and the outcome if you can.
Are these chats saved, like you could go back and say, I want to use the same with a new thing?
Yep. Yeah, so you can do that. But it also kind of lends to that old phrase, no man crosses the same river twice because it's never the same man, never the same river type thing. Because every time you add context to it, it changes just a little bit. And so what I would recommend doing in that situation is having the prompt somewhere, so whether it's a Google Doc or something like that, and then doing fresh context window every time, meaning go to a new chat, have what you want informationally that you know works, put that in there, and then start it with a new chat. And at a certain point, there's something called context rot or context bloat, and that basically means that you'll notice that let's say you said don't ever use the word dream home, and you notice that it's starting to use the word dream home. What's likely happened is your guardrails are gone, and you have too much in the context window that it started forgetting about things that you told it to do. Right? It's a very common thing where you have like this massive chat, and then you're like, all right, I think I'm ready, and you ask it for something, and it forgot everything that you said within the last 20 messages, right? And now it's just, and you're like, what happened here? And so that's why I would recommend trying to keep the context fresh situationally if you can. The fifth essential, and this is probably the most important one, is to have an iterative mindset. Because like I said, I started as a perfectionist and like putting the prompt in and then being really frustrated that I didn't get a good output back and whatever. But it's like you put it in and then just go until you get the output you want and then ask the AI how you got there, right? So kind of reverse engineering what you want through the AI, because the AI, there are very specific things that work really well in talking to AI. And so it's going to tell you like, hey, if you do this, this, and this, you'll get here, and it'll save you having to do those 20 messages. So just do that prompt, right? So love iteration. And iteration, again, you can say make it shorter, more conversational, add more emotional language, focus more on the kitchen renovation, rewrite the opening. Anything that you see, like one of the things that I absolutely love to do is just, I have like a transcriber on my computer. I read the prompt, hit the transcriber, and then just go through and say, I don't like this, I'd like to change this output's wrong because it did not, it won't fit into a social media post, whatever it is that I need to change about that specific output. And that's something else that's really, really great, is you guys can get content now from, like you can get many pieces of content from one piece of AI output. Right? So you can say like, hey, turn this listing description into a high converting social media post for Instagram. Hey, turn this listing description into an outreach email for my my activation email list, or whatever it is, right? And so you now have that one thing that you can morph into things that are useful throughout the entire business ecosystem. So, and this is really good. I highly recommend that if you don't quite know what you're asking for as far as clarity wise, ask the AI to help you. Say, hey, interview me as if you're hiring for this role, and this is the outcome I want. Interview me and help me figure out exactly what I need. And so it'll act as an expert in that industry. And again, this is getting into a little bit where you may want to do some research on the back end because you're not an expert in it, or make sure you're asking for citations, right? So, chain of thought, this is basically asking the AI to show its work, right? And so you can understand how the AI is arriving to conclusions if you can see like, oh, I thought about this, and I thought about this, and I thought about this, right? And so it helps you understand the reasoning process that the AI is using to end up with its output. And so you may look at that reasoning process and be like, oh, if you just wouldn't have done this step that got you completely off sideways, you would have a great output. And then these, again, you guys are getting all of these. I'm not really going to go through them, but these are prompts for like a listing description. So you can see here, this is a little bit different than what most people are doing with prompting as far as like taking it to the AI. So if you have this plus like a context card, you have everything you need to write banger listing descriptions really, really quickly, like real quick. And so again, you guys, I will send an email with all that stuff, and then it's all in I have like a student portal, like I said, it's completely free. And again, you want to save your best prompts. So start a Google Doc, start a spreadsheet, start something where you are saving the stuff that works really well. Because the more that you have access to that, and if we do have time, I'm not gonna have time to get into tools, but with tools and stuff, if you save those prompts into like a Google Sheet, you can have the AI go grab the prompt out of the sheet for you, right? So you don't have to go copy paste, you don't have to do all that. We're just trying to save as much time and effort as possible so that you guys can focus on things that are actually driving. And that's something else, is with AI, the AI may not directly be the thing that's saving money or time or whatever. It'll save one of the two or else it's pointless. But if you can get it to where it's doing the administrative stuff and you can focus on the high value stuff for you, whatever that looks like, whether that's your lead acquisition, looking to improve your marketing presence, social media content, whatever it is that's the highest value, highest leverage piece for you, you can have the AI do the other stuff, and then you can fall right into your scope of genius, right? Where you have a disproportionate advantage to everyone you're competing against. So like that's what we want. We want the AI to do the admin so that everyone here is competing with an unfair advantage against everyone who is not doing the stuff that you guys are doing. Context engineering. So this is kind of what I've been talking about for a majority of the class. So prompting is that one time asking a question. Context engineering is how you get in a system. That is how you create something that it knows your projects, it knows your tasks, it knows your personality, so it knows even a little bit the way you're going to complete the task, right? Like, if you're someone who hires out instead of developing the skill as an example, the AI will eventually learn, hey, this person hires out doing things that they are not proficient with instead of learning how to do it. It'll start making recommendations for vendors instead of making recommendations for courses to learn how to do the skill, right? And so that context just continues to build and grow, and it learns and it knows about you. And this will be one of those things that people are gonna build their independent systems for it. And I've seen this happen a number of times. So people are gonna build independent systems. I build an independent context system for me. What is going to happen is eventually the frontier labs are going to crush that. Eventually, so like Claude, OpenAI, whatever, are eventually going to solve the problem of personal assistant, and everything I've talked about here today will go away. So just be aware that you're learning a depreciating skill right now, but only because the skill will be basically crushed by the AI companies themselves. And so at that point, everyone will have access to like a full context system on themselves. You guys knowing how to manage the context and use it better is going to be an advantage for you in the long run, but in the short term, the AI companies do not have this, so understanding it now is going to be beneficial. And then when the AI companies do get it, you'll have a deeper understanding and be able to be more proficient with it when it does come. So this is very similar to front door key versus master key. Context engineering basically gives you the master key. Not only does it give you the master key, and it can also give you a master key to a nicer house, right? So because of all the time and effort and things that it can save you by building on the front end, and don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, it is a pain in the butt to build on the front end, but it is very worth it. And it's becoming less and less of an obstacle to actually build. So what you want to do is, context engineering is the delicate art and science of filling the context window with just the right information for the next step. So it's not filling it with everything, but it's filling it with the ability for the AI to make better decisions. So again, this is all included. So this is a context card. So this is kind of basically the identity, the voice, what knowledge you have, and what guardrails are you interacting with your AI at. So again, another one of these, it's just kind of, if you load the context card, you get better outputs. So the way most people do context engineering is they set up the first 3 layers, and then that's your reusable window. So the system is what's your persona, your voice, your constraints, your expertise, kind of everything we talked about in prompting, right? Like everything that we talked about in prompting, what goes in system context. So one of the things that you want to think about is your personal, what they call system prompt. Okay, a lot of people don't realize, but when you open that ChatGPT window or Anthropic or whoever provider you use, there is a prompt in there already that you never see. And it's what they call the system prompt. So it is the prompt that all users funnel ChatGPT or Anthropic through, and it's kind of the start. And so the better you can get at understanding what your system prompt looks like, so what are the things you do well, the things you do poorly, the things that, the problems you solve really well, the resources you have available, all that kind of stuff should go in there. So memory is a big problem with AI. It's something that they're working on. Some of the smartest people in the world are working on it right now. I do expect them to solve it to where it's good enough to the point where ChatGPT will be able to go back to like your initial conversations with it and pull context from that. It's not anywhere close to that yet, But what that means for right now is that, let's say you have a client that loves white space and they want luxury everything and da 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 da, and then you have another client that is value conscious and wants to be as affordable as possible and find as much value as possible, right? Like the same communication is not going to hit the same way for each of them, right? Like it's going to be very different. And so just like you can build a context card for yourself, you can build a context card for your clients, and you can build a context card for your deals and your properties, right? And so now you have context for 3 different entities: you, your clients, and your deals.
I'm a little confused on the context cards. Are those supposed to be just sent in a prompt that we save and then start a new prompt?
Yeah, exactly. So what's really the context card, what you want to do to build it is kind of, the way I did it is I went to, I think it was Claude, I transcribed me talking because it's a lot, and I just basically had a brain dump of everything that I thought was useful for it, and I said, this is my personal context, help me sort out what's meaningful and what's not meaningful. And then it sorted it out, and then I went back through and read it, and I was like, no, I think these things are more meaningful than you're giving them credit for, blah, 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 here's why. And so it built it out, and then what you do is you get that, and then you take it to like a Google Doc, and you save it in there, or save it even in like a cell on a sheet, and then you can grab it and paste it in there. Or if you're using like a desktop version of the app, you can actually have the app go in and grab it out of the doc and pull it right in for you. And so, but yeah, so you're gonna be pasting that into basically every interaction that you're using for kind of a productive work output. Conversation. So the conversation, like we talked about, is what is discussed this session. And you'll want new conversations, new context windows for different tasks that you're starting, because it will impact the next thing in the conversation. So if you have like a 20-minute conversation with it, and then you go to a different topic in that same conversation, it's being shaded by what you previously talked about. So if you don't want that, you need to just bounce to a new conversation. And this is context rot and context bloat is what causes your output quality to start degrading as you have longer conversations. Task, so this is just exactly what you're doing right now. So like, why are you here to use AI? And so if you can make layers 1 through 3 consistent and as easy as possible, the prompting layer for number 4 becomes literally as easy as saying, hey AI, write a prompt to get me this outcome. Because if you're not using AI to write your prompts, you 100% should be. Most people, like I said, go type and then send it to get the response. One of the things that I love to do is say, turn this into a system quality prompt that gives me elite level outputs, and then tell it exactly what I'm saying. And so it's not going to give me the output, it's going to give me the system prompt to give to the AI to get the output, if that makes sense. It's a little convoluted, but the AI is smarter than me, so I want to use it in as many places in my workflow as possible.
Do you also save those prompts as well? Like you can go back and pull?
It depends. It depends on how much utility I've gotten out of the prompt.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so like a majority of the time I will, if it's something that I think has any potential to be used again and I really like the output. And that's something else that is a lot of people don't think about. If you save your prompt, it may not matter the next time you go to the AI model, and I say that because the AIs advance so quickly. Like the model comes out, and so you may put that prompt in and you may get a different result and be like, what the just happened here, right? And so, and it may be better, it may be worse. Like you might put it in and you'd be like, holy cow, I didn't expect this thing to make a bar chart, you know? And it's like, oh wow, I made a whole presentation, right? So you just have to be aware that the models are changing too, and that's something that a lot of people don't account for when they're building this stuff. So here's some signs of context rot. If AI gives generic responses, if it forgets the things that you put as constraints, if the outputs start to drift, like if you're like, I don't recognize the kind of language it's using, or if you find yourself having to re-explain things over and over again, you're likely at a place where you should ask the AI to give you a summary of the entire chat and then move it to a fresh context window. So identity, so voice, so this is just kind of a recap, so I'm just gonna kind of blitz through it. Identity, who are you? Voice, how should it sound? Knowledge, what information does it have? Guardrails, where are you needing to stay on the road? So the do not say list, this is again one of the guardrail things. Like I highly recommend if you have pet peeves or if you have things that you would never say, stuff like that, add it to your do not say list. Add it to that. And then again, going back to examples being better than descriptions, if you can have it match your style and tone for the things that you like, have it do that 100%, give it really good examples. This is actually something that should kind of be running all the time in the back of your brain. Like if you send an email and you're like, I nailed that email's great, save it. Save it and keep it as an example for your writing style, right?
Do the guardrails travel to each chat, or do you have to say again, hey, these are the guardrails?
So if you put it in your context card, it'll travel with the context card. And depending on how you have your AI desktop set up, it can. But a majority of time, it'll be, you have to either have it in the context card or put it out there each time. And this is a great way to do it, super simple prompt. Again, you guys will have access to this, but you can have it analyze the writing samples, and then you paste your examples, and it'll give you kind of your writing style. So write in a warm, professional tone, write in my analyze style, short, punchy sentences, and so it gives you your writing analysis, and then with your examples, it can really, really do a good job kind of matching, kind of predicting what you would say in that situation. And so once you build out the templates, you just continue to use them, and then you end up, with listing description context, and you can build different contexts for different things, right? So client communication, neighborhood expert, market update context, lead qualification, and then again, I'm not going to go super in depth with this, but this is how you kind of stack that into a workflow. So you can have the transaction deal sheet, the client persona, objection handler, and then you just kind of, all parts of the deal you can filter through the AI, and it's like, oh, we're having a pricing objection. What are some things I can do to overcome that? And it will have the context on that client, so it knows like, hey, it's really important that they're in the school district, use that in the negotiation, or like whatever it is, right? So like having that additional context gives you the ability to really, really push forward. 20 message rule, I don't personally have this, but I know people that use this to kind of avoid getting into that context rot, like bad AI situation. And so you just, new window, and then these are the biggest mistakes with context engineering, is pasting everything just in case. Same context for everything, never updating. Like a lot of people will build it and be like, yeah, we're good. And then 6 months later, they're like, this sucks. Yeah, it's never been updated once. So make sure, and you can update, you can have the AI actually do the update. Like you can copy, paste, and say, hey, update this for me. And then each platform, you can put it into the baseline of the platform. So like ChatGPT, for example, has like personas, and you can paste right into that. And so if you always use ChatGPT for your real estate stuff, paste that in there, and it will always take that mindset to kind of work with you. So custom instructions in ChatGPT, also projects in Claude, and gems in Gemini. All right, action plan. And so the goal isn't to prompt a chatbot, it is to build a digital assistant that is actually helping to move your business forward. And we lost my grandma 10 days ago, and this is like, she was my biggest supporter, and so everything that I do is kind of for that. So, but yeah, so anyway, sorry about that. But yeah, so really, really, she encouraged me to do a lot of things, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything. So very, very grateful. If you have someone in your life who is unrelentingly supportive of you, definitely tell them thank you. So that is, that's AI acceleration. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad.
Like water
Yeah, no, it is. It's, yeah.
I'm excited to read through what you're gonna send out.
Yeah,
This is all new for me.
oh, 100%. It's
It's completely like another.
I often imagine that this is what it was like when the printing press was developed. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a complete technological shift of like the entire culture.
And the slides and stuff, we will get those, right?
Yeah, so if you have the, if you create an account to the student portal, so it's, and I'll send a link to everybody, just create a link to an account, and everything will be in there, you copy and paste, do the whole thing, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, yep, absolutely, guys, thank you. And if you guys have any questions, more than welcome, I'm super happy to answer anything. Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Thank you so much.
No, absolutely, my pleasure. Yeah, so I've got 3 hours class coming up, and then I'm gonna be doing like some personal stuff. with
Thank
these
you.
really- Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, I thought about that too, yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's highly useful. For sure. Right, yes, exactly.
It would stick in my brain.
No, 100%.
This is just so
Right. Well, and that's the tough thing with T-Rex, right? Is like you have to. Well, no, because like that's like.
This is so outside of
What?
my brain doesn't work like this.
Right. Well, and what you're saying is exactly the type of class that I want to do, but yeah. So with T-Rex, you have to have like an official like this is this. So it wouldn't be accredited, but I would. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm totally down. That's my favorite way to teach.
Money.
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
I need to know how to do this because I find the best of people.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't know how to do it. I'm at a loss.
Right. No, I will
Yeah.
definitely and say something to Melissa about that as well because I.
It says log out,
this is-
so did I
that's like
log
my
in?
dream class.
And do I have it?
Right.
I get CD somewhere else. This is information I need.
Right. Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and tell Melissa, and I'll talk to her too, and like, yeah, because I think a code build class is like the most valuable thing that we
Yeah,
can do.
because we're actually doing it, so it's sticking in my brain.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah, and I'll be able to answer fundamental questions, and yeah,
Sorry for the grant.
thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you so much.
Hi, I think you kind of got around my question that I submitted, but I'm not using actual context cards. I'm on chat, I'm at the top level because I use it all the
Okay.
time. I've built a board of advisory people that I will just throw things off of
Nice,
or whatever, you know,
yeah,
have
yeah.
Elon Musk and Charlie Munger.
That's awesome.
You know,
I
like,
love
I'm
it.
like,
That's awesome.
hey, this is what's going on and what would you
That's
guys
sick,
do
yeah.
type thing, so that's fun. Where I've been using it for a while and it's my contexts are getting mushy, it's where but I have not been like entering anything new. I'm trying to figure out how to tangibly take it, and don't tell me how, to manage my adult children with how to manage my home building business
Right.
together. It's mixing,
Yeah.
I'm like, I have buckets, it doesn't have buckets.
I was the same way, yeah. No.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so it's funny, so like I have my client-based business that I have each client for, it's very, very different, and
Yeah.
like all of it, and so, I've different, yeah, absolutely. And so, the way, there's two really, the simplest way to do it is just to be like, ChatGPT is my real estate stuff and Claude is my, or
Okay.
something
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
is the simplest way to do it.
Yeah.
You can do, I think it's a project in ChatGPT
Okay.
where you can kind of have that be sitting there separately and you could have it that way.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
I
but
have project, for speed, I
Great job.
tend to just
Thank you
go
so much.
start a new chat, and then later on, I'm like, oh, I should drag this to the project
yeah,
type
well,
thing.
and you can
Okay.
always, and you can always ask it like, summarize this in a way that I can put it into a new chat with fresh context to get this output or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
So you can always do kind of little tricks like that where you have it basically do that, the grunt work of like building that out for you and then just taking it
Okay.
and copying it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm like, man, I wish I had 3 versions.
Right.
So that it,
Well, and, I mean, I
it
kind of
would get there.
Well, and I kind of want to teach a more advanced class because there is a way to do it in Markdown files using what's called an IDE, which is like what computer programmers use.
Sure.
But it's super duper, it's much more accessible now than people realize, and so you can get in there and really like actually build stuff.
Right.
And so that's one of the classes that I'm gonna talk to Melissa about, is actually teaching people how to build things, so that once you know how to build something and you know the thought process behind it, you can kind of go build anything after that.
Right.
And so like, that's one of the things, because then you'd be able to make like a team of mentors that doesn't have context mode ever.
Right.
Right?
Got
So,
it.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was very fascinating. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. My
Appreciate it.
Hey, greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, I don't know if I just missed it, like, what is your day job, you know, that
Yeah.
that is in this space, like
Yeah, so it's funny, I started as a mobile home park investor.
Okay.
And so I
Yep.
did that, and then I was like, I wanna build some apps to, and this was in December of 2022, so ChatGPT just released.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'm gonna start like doing that. And so I got into AI that way, and then I was like, I don't really want to take it back to the mobile home park stuff. I want to kind of explore new businesses, whatever. So I started a marketing company, and I helped people kind of use AI and do that kind of stuff.
Cool.
And then I was like, you know what? I should be teaching the people in real estate AI, because it's allowed me to move basically into an entirely different business.
Right.
And so I kind of just am like an AI consultant.
Okay,
now,
yeah,
for,
no,
for the
that's
most
cool.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of figured as much, but
Yeah, no, it's fine.
And what was your name again?
My name's Ryan.
Ryan.
Yes,
Tom
sir.
Cunningham. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Yeah.
That was great. I mean, I know it's very introductory, but also very like you gotta start. We gotta start somewhere.
No,
you know,
exactly.
so.
Yeah. And I'm hopeful like the 3-hour class will definitely get a lot deeper.
I
and
will
stuff
keep an
and stuff
eye
like
out
that,
for it
but
for
yeah.
sure if I don't miss it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
definitely. Yeah.
Thank
Hi.
you very
No,
much.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Yeah, you as well. Take care.
I was gonna ask you a question, it's right here, and it keeps zapping me out, so, can I,
Yeah, we got.
can I just email you?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your,
Yeah.
appreciate your class. It's
Yes,
really
ma'am,
good.
absolutely. My
Good.
pleasure.
And sorry to hear about your
Oh,
program.
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Is that okay that I email you?
I'm probably sure.
Okay.
You might regret asking that once you see my email address, because it is long.
That's what I'm saying, you might have worked.
Yeah. So the email is brian@buildthings.com, but I regret naming the company that a little bit.
That's
So,
funny.
someone once was like, you know what, I'm not gonna work with you unless you shorten the name of your company. And I was like, you know what, they can put Schwarzenegger on a marquee, you put Bill Things.
Exactly. I mean, it's easy to remember, really.
Yeah, no, yeah, once you have it, it's not hard, but like writing it down, you're just like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
typing it in,
Yeah.
yeah, I see that. That's we're all lazy.
No, exactly. Hey, I'll be doing it all for us anyway soon. So.
Do I?
Hey, I'll be doing it all for us anyway
Well,
soon.
that's true.
Right?
So true.
Thank you so much for coming. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Sorry
Jessica.
about-
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just not sure after it's been out in the weather for a while. They're still gonna be good on the sign, I just don't know when you pull it off.
Okay, I think I'm gonna try these.
Okay. Did you wanna?
I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah. Try this.